Apple began constructing the iPhone in 2005. The first model was released a year later in 2006. In 2007, Time magazine voted the iPhone the invention of the year. In its short life history, the Apple iPhone has fundamentally changed the way people communicate. Once considered luxury items, cell phones are now in almost every hand of the average American, and with those, an increase in the number of smartphones. Apple has become a household name with its innovations in computers, digital music players, and now phones. According to Continuum, Journal of Media and Cultural Studies, with its numerous applications, email connectivity, and browser capability, the Apple iPhone is topping this list of what constitutes new consumer necessities. We looked at 3 areas with iPhone sales and use: status associations, the effect iPhone cameras have had on digital camera use, and the changes in access to knowledge available through email, browser, and social media connectivity functions of the iPhone. The study we conducted consisted of 101 participants through an online Catalyst survey. The demographics included mostly students at 65%, 12% business professionals, small percentages in university graduates and unemployed individuals, and the remaining 15% categorized as other. We looked at the participant cell phone use of choice, and an overwhelming 78% were non-iPhone users. Droid, Microsoft, BlackBerry, and Sidekicks were among the other non-iPhone brands. Our methods of research included interviews, surveys, and academic literature analysis. By conducting outside interviews, we expanded the responses to our hypotheses. Each individual survey question was asked as a direct response to our hypothesis, or as a base for demographics of the age, occupation, and phone users of our study. Due to the nature and time frame of our research project, we were unable to conduct a large-scale survey, which would be considered one flaw of our research. If given more time and resources, we would expand the demographics and population of participants in this case study. Many of our academic sources were available online and through the University of Washington Library Network. However, unfortunately, we were unable to find extensive data regarding our hypothesis with digital cameras and iPhone use. When approaching this study, our researchers were most curious about reasons why the iPhone was so popular and why people preferred it over other smartphones. Does the iPhone actually have better features, or is it the Apple reputation and sexy design that gets people hooked? In the interviews we held with iPhone users, we asked how they decided to get their phones and if they'd recommend it to others.
Well, I had a Sidekick from T-Mobile and it was giving me problems, and I'd used a lot of my friends' iPhones, and I just decided that I liked it. Plus, I'm like an Apple crazy person, so I have to have everything to make.
Okay. So did you get it for the brand itself?
Yeah, that plus its capabilities, like all the apps it has, and just all the reviews I've heard from friends.
Dad actually convinced me to get the phone because my brother and his wife had them and were just talking about how great they were, that you could look on the map and do this and have GPS, and basically has everything that a computer has in a phone, so it's way smaller. And he thought that I would enjoy using something like it. My mom especially, I really wanted her to get an iPhone because it is simple to use, but for her, when she looks at it, it just looks really complicated. So I think it's also an age difference where there are older people who are very wealthy but choose not to get an iPhone because it looks complicated.
We asked our survey participants, if offered a free iPhone with 6 months of paid service, would they accept it? The majority of people would accept the free phone. Some worried what would happen with the bills after 6 months expired, but most accepted the offer because they trusted the Apple's reputation. Comments we got about whether or not they would accept a free iPhone were very interesting.
Probably not. If I was gonna get like a better phone, it'd probably be like a Sidekick or something like that's a similar like style to this, but just like better. I just don't like the iPhone. Like I had an iTouch and I liked it because of the music, but I wouldn't want to text on a touchscreen. It's just like annoying to me. I mean, if I was working at a business or something like that, and you know, I needed to communicate with a lot of people about meetings, that sort of thing, like I think that would probably be like really handy. But like at this stage in my life, like I don't need that advanced of a phone. And I feel like there's so many phones that have like all of the electronic things like built into them, like their camera, and you can text on them, and you can email, and there's like all these different things, and it's like, well, why do we have separate electronics for that then? I have an iPod, I have a camera, I have a computer, and I have a phone, and my phone's like for texting and calling people, and that's pretty much all I do on it.
I probably wouldn't utilize an iPhone the way that other people would want to utilize them. I kind of try to keep my life simple, and I feel like having iPhones would, I don't know, I feel like it's just too much stuff, too much of your life in one like electronic device, so you rely on it too much. It'd be cool to play around with and like look at and stuff, but I don't think I'd actually, I don't know if I'd like it or not.
Like, I think they're cool. I just feel like they're sort of unnecessary. Like, I feel like they're cool and they're fun. I mean, I wouldn't mind having one, but I just feel like I don't really need one, so I don't really feel the need to spend money on them.
One reason people chose other phones over the iPhone was because they simply couldn't afford it. The approximate cost of a monthly internet browser plan, including standard phone capabilities, is about $100 for the iPhone. Most students cannot afford this fee and have their parents pay for it. Others cannot afford the fee without a stable income and therefore need justification for having a phone with such advanced capabilities. So we wondered, do iPhone users send a message about their social status by owning an iPhone?
So who pays for your cell phone plan right now?
My mom.
Do you think that would make a difference in your cell phone right now because of the plan?
Like if I paid for it? Yeah, probably. It's kind of expensive.
Why do you choose to use that kind of phone instead of an iPhone or another kind of smartphone?
Just because it's more affordable. Starving student, and I just feel like I don't need to pay all the extra money for a smartphone when I can just like, I just feel like I don't need to be connected to the world at all times, you know, like I can just come home and use my computer. I don't have to like check my Facebook in class.
Overall, we found that people prefer iPhones over other phones if, and only if, they have AT&T, they can afford it, they don't have other means for wireless internet access, they trust Apple products, or their family, close friends, or spouses recommended it.
We chose to explore this hypothesis because of the significance of the ever-changing, ever-growing sources of news and social media now available via smartphone. While once only available through computers, now anyone, anywhere can connect. Capability of internet use through smartphones has made it possible to access news headlines and current events as they happen. Alerts can be sent to your mobile device instantly. Consequently, Twittering or logging onto your Facebook can now be done during work, in class, or simply waiting for the bus. Applications and phone features allow sports, weather, social media, and internet capabilities. To what degree are these features actually causing users to be more knowledgeable? To what degree is it making the world more or less connected?
I downloaded, it's like CNN Newsroom or something like that. I obviously don't use it that much. It's called Meet the Press, and it has, you can watch YouTube videos that have been updated on all the news. So I definitely have access if I need it, and I think when I first got my phone I was more into using it, but now I just kind of have adjusted to the ones that I use all the time. So I know that I have access to all of the latest headlines, but I don't necessarily use the internet for that. I use the internet more for checking my email.
Less than 50% of iPhone users are strongly satisfied with browser or email capabilities on their phones, according to the Rubicon Consulting study published in the Apple iPhone, Successes and Challenges for the Mobile Industry. This report features email as being the #1 most used smartphone feature, not browsers or internet current event use. Only about 55% of users even used mobile browsing at the time of the study. According to our findings, smartphone use hasn't significantly changed the way users access their news. Although a majority of our participants were college-aged, we also found a numerous amount of data from multi-generations and from across the job market to support our null hypothesis, that iPhone users don't feel more knowledgeable about everyday events. Social media connection still seems to take precedence as the frontrunner in terms of application and use in smartphones, in terms of email, Facebook, texting, and Twitter.
There are applications for everything, Facebook, Twitter, the new Foursquare application that everyone's getting into, you can definitely stay up to date at all times, like about your friends, like what they're doing, where they are. I don't think you can do that with everything on the phone.
The increased use of these mobile applications have affected a variety of jobs and professionals. In the real estate market, for instance, the use of social and news streams have shifted the market significantly, not in positive ways. According to Title Report's Market Intelligence for the Mobile Market Company article, Insurance Agents Adapt Marketing Research to Reach Mobile Realtor Clients, the increase in laptops and mobile devices have shifted the market to working out of the office. With this shift has come disconnectedness between the realtors and their clients. Rather than feeling more connected and more knowledgeable, many participants, interviewees, and outside data we have collected has reflected that iPhone users are feeling less connected. The article reports some interesting statistics. 42% of realtors use smartphones with daily or nearly everyday use. 90% use wireless email and internet capabilities. Many of the employees have reported feeling like they are losing relationships they once had. The majority of our participants said they have not significantly changed the way they've received headlines. 62% said they do not use their cell phones to read news headlines. Only about 27% actively access news headlines, and the remaining percent were either neutral or had other ways of accessing news. Over half our participants said they did not read news headlines on their phones or otherwise. Some of our interviewees shared that though they don't feel more informed about everyday news stories, they do appreciate the immediate access to information that smartphones provide.
The internet has come in handy just whenever I have a question about anything in class. If I don't know something and know a word that the teacher uses, I can just look it up on my phone right then.
Because you're playing around on the internet a lot more when you have the iPhone. So I think it's definitely a good tool to have. But I like my laptop, and I like to be able to leave my laptop at home and not have it as a distraction.
We chose this hypothesis because we wanted to investigate how the increase in technology has changed the accessibility and variations in digital cameras. Now more than ever, there are an abundance of new branded cameras and old ones that continue to come out with greater advantages, making cameras lighter, clearer, and most importantly, user-friendly. As cameras become more innovative, we wanted to investigate how consumers, like ourselves, have affected the market of popular brands such as Canon, Nikon, Sony, etc. As technology advances, products begin to steal away from other sources of media, like cellular phones. This matters because it indefinitely shapes our lives with our everyday activities. The purchasing power heavily influences technology creations. We've learned that 69% of our survey participants own digital cameras separate from their cellular phones, although data collected from interviews told us that convenience leads many of them to use their cell phones for taking pictures on a day-to-day basis.
I have an SLR camera. I don't have what they call point and shoot, so I use this when I can't bring my giant camera around with me, but yeah, I guess I do use my phone a lot for taking pictures.
I take pictures on it all the time. If I don't have my camera, it's handy because the quality is not quite as good as it is on my digital camera, but it's a good thing to have my phone if I forget my camera.
In January of 2003, Nokia spearheaded the camera phone industry by launching its Nokia 3650 in North America. It was the first year camera phones outsold cameras worldwide. Regardless of the weaker megapixel quality in smartphone cameras, the ability to upload images and video to the internet through social network share sites is invaluable for users.
Our results show that our data was inconclusive. The data was not significant enough to accept all of our hypotheses. Due to the lack of resources available, time spent, and number of participants, we reject all three of our hypotheses. We gathered an abundance of information pertaining to our study with academic literature and surveys. However, that was not enough to make a significant claim. We did, however, find an ample amount of interesting responses from interviewees and survey participants worthy of acknowledgement. Our research study has the potential to initiate further investigation by media specialists and communication scholars.